questions.
Yeah, obviously, I think we're incredibly excited. We spoke today being a reiteration day for us about it being the start of the week, the start of the season. I think for us, we feel very happy with where we are. We also know it's a process, and this is the start of the journey. The start obviously began in preseason with introducing a new style of play, introducing new expectations, introducing lots of new things, if you will. And I think the group has been so great with looking to exceed those expectations, and looking to process those expectations. And for me, I'm very proud of them in the position that we feel like we are in leading into the home opening weekend.
Questions for Bev?
What are you most excited for fans to see about this new iteration of racing?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think for us, it's something I spoke about massively once I got into this role, is how special the group is, how hard they work for each other. Obviously, having a chunk of returning players and mixing in new faces and seeing how quickly that gelled together. I also think everybody being in a similar space with me teaching a new style, if you will, and everybody sharing that. Right. Returning players are learning the new style. New players are learning the new style. And I think the work that they've put in to showcase that they're invested in that has been massive. And so for me, I'm excited for everybody to see these players and the continued work ethic, the continued blue collar mentality, the continued want to succeed as a group. And obviously sprinkling in what I believe we can look like this season and what I believe our identity is. Of course.
What are your goals for the season, whether they're for you as a coach or for the team as players, are those the same or different?
Yeah, absolutely. The goal is to continue to progress. This industry obviously is very much so based off of success being wins, right? We obviously want to win. If we didn't want to win, it's one of the things I said day one when I came in, you have to want to win. And we have to want to succeed as a group, but we have to continue to focus on progression and what progression looks like for us and our identity, not wavering based on what other teams are presenting to us, changing certain things to ensure that we're aware of other teams, but our identity is first and foremost, and who we are is first and foremost. So I think the continued progression and the continued understanding and the continued drive of this is where we're headed, and we want to accomplish amazing things together and be successful as a group.
How beneficial was your trip to Columbia? What were you able to maybe see or take away from that building on going into the season?
Yeah, it's a great question. It was amazing. I think it was a really cool opportunity to be in a different country altogether, to explore that culture on and off the pitch, to see a different style, to be able to play another NWSL side. I think for us, it was a chance to bond both on and off the pitch, being in a new country. And again, the tournament itself, just getting, I believe preseason's just as much for staff as it is for players, in the sense of us getting into a rhythm as well and understanding each other and what the roles are, what the expectations are, just as much it is for the group, for the players. So I think it put us in a really incredible space to have the opportunity to gel in that space. So for us, it was incredibly beneficial.
Racing hasn't got off to traditionally fast starts from the accumulated points perspective. How important will that be this year to kind of build confidence and get some points?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think for us, again, it's coming out with the mentality, coming out with the belief in our style and our identity, and showcasing that very early. And obviously we're hopeful that that comes with points as well. But at the same time, my biggest piece for all of this is, are we continuing to head in the right direction? That always has to come back to and be able to answer that question, is if we're continuing to head in the right direction, they will come when they're supposed to come. And for us, and what I've continued to preach to this group, is it's about peaking at the right time in this league. If you peak at the right time, you will be very successful. So for us, of course, we want to come out strong. We want to win a lot of games. That's a no-brainer, right? We have that winning mentality. We want to keep that winning mentality, and we want to strive for that throughout the season. But there also has to be a sense of, are we continuing to get better, and are we going to peak at the right time? And for me, that has a huge emphasis.
On paper, this is probably the deepest squad you've ever had. So how does having a deep squad help with that winning mentality?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think the squad's incredibly competitive. I think it makes Monday through Friday incredibly competitive. And part of taking this role was I wanted Monday through Friday to be competitive, and I wanted the weekend to be more of the reward, in the sense of how competitive it is throughout the week. And so I think for us, having a squad that's so deep, having a longer season, and having such a competitive group Monday through Friday, if you will, just sets us up for more opportunities to continue to get better and continue to push each other. And so for us, it's massive coming into this season with the depth that we have.
When you had your first practice, you talked
Mhm.
about how quick the first patch practice was and maybe getting the players to slow down a little bit. Are you still pleased now with the level of practice and the speed of the practice that has occurred?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think it's something to be said about these players. They've just absolutely embraced the ideas that I brought in. They've absolutely embraced the staff and the implementation of the trainings and what we're looking to get out of the group. And I think for me, it's just continuing to push them, continuing to support them, but also provide that challenge of this is what we need more of, and this is how we need more of it. But it's finding that fine balance. I'm not always going to get it right. I'm not. I'm not perfect. I wish I was. But my point is I'm not always going to get it right. But that's why we have a big staff, a large staff. That's why we have those opportunities to get that to these players as quickly as possible and continue to head them in the right direction.
And then final one for me is now having your staff fully complete. Is that taking some of the burden off you, where you feel like now I can kind of delegate a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's just incredibly exciting when you talk about providing an elite environment for players and the environment that I believe they deserve. You talk about a quality staff like this with who I've been able to bring alongside me. I've said it previously, like both Mitch and Carmen, and obviously having the opportunity to work with Sergio like I have in the past, they're so aligned in the vision, and they're so happy to be here. And I'm so happy they're here that I just think the collaboration of it all has allowed us to provide a really true elite competitive environment that I believe we're trying to provide for these players to continue to grow and develop individually and as a group.